Okay, let's continue. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm gonna talk about Litecoin versus Ethereum. So what's the difference between Litecoin and Ethereum? So this live has been prepared to explain the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin. So on the Ethereum side, it will cover the following topics, that is, what is Ethereum, how Ethereum uses a smart contract to create more use cases than other blockchain currency, and Ethereum history, and a little bit more about Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So after the section about Ethereum, I move on to Litecoin, and Litecoin is a bit easier to understand, meaning there's less to cover. So we're looking at the topic of what Litecoin is, Litecoin history, and the reason it was created in the first place. Why? No, you see the comment. Okay, okay. Then finally, there's a section of using each technology for payment. So this will look at Litecoin versus Ethereum from a currency point of view, only a currency point of view, and it will compare the transaction times and cost of each digital currency. So this should help you to decide on Litecoin versus Ethereum when trying to choose which currency to use to pay for goods and service online. So by the end of this live, you should understand the following, that is the difference between Ethereum and Litecoin, and the advantage and disadvantage of each, and how they got started and why they were created, and a little bit about using both Litecoin and Ethereum. So table of content for today is Ethereum, what's the smart contract of Ethereum, Ethereum background, Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, Litecoin's history of Litecoin and comparison of both, and the price, payment, and the last one is conclusion. So what is Ethereum? So you guys should know what is Ethereum, right? So Ethereum is a public blockchain that allow the developer to create decentralized application, that is the app on it. So like the Bitcoin blockchain, Ethereum has its own native coins or currency. So this coin called Ether, ETH. So many people incorrectly use these terms of Ethereum to describe both the currency and the network itself. So from now, the Ethereum works is secure using a proof of work (POW) protocol. So this is the same as Bitcoin. So POW required advanced computers to solve and complicated math problem. So these computers are known as miner. So if you're familiar with crypto, you probably heard the term of miner before. Is it miner or miner?
Miner. I pronounce it as miner.
So yeah. So the miner verified transaction of of blocks in the Ethereum blockchain and are rewarded for their service in Ether. So they also check the entries on the blockchain follow the network rules. So this system is very secure, but it uses a lot of electricity because mining is very demanding. And Ether can be used like Bitcoin as a tradable currency, and it can also be used to pay for things. So however, unlike Bitcoin, Ether can be used on power certain features within the app. For example, when creating a token on Ethereum blockchains or using a smart contract developer or a user must pay must pay the network in Ether. So moving on to smart contract. So the Ethereum network is also different from Bitcoin because it's possible to create smart contract using it. So you can think of smart contract as programmable money. So smart contracts are programs that are built using computers code. So they also they allow user to transfer value between one another without using a middleman. So smart contract will automatically transfer the assets when the condition of the contract are met. So a simple example of smart contract is used when developer make initial coins offering on the Ethereum blockchain. So initial coin offering is a way of using smart contracts and cryptocurrency to raise money for a new idea. So the company behind the idea will create a white paper which explain their plans, and they ask for anyone interested in the idea to buy a token that will eventually be used by the application. So this is the note aside. So some tokens have no use on the application created for the idea, and instead are used for financial gains and more things. But some do, those that do not have any use of the application as known as a security token, whereas the latter are known as utility token. So there is no fine line between them, though, as some utility token have attributes of a security token too. So the token are logged into a smart contract that is created using the Ethereum network. So the smart contract will state that a certain number of tokens will be paid out for every unit of Ether that is received. So when the Ether is received, the tokens are sent to the address of the contributor automatically. So no third party is needed to say that the token will be sent out, or it all done using computer code. So smart contracts are designed to be impossible to change once that they have been agreed upon by the parties using them. So they can be used to remove the middleman from many different types of transactions. So one example of the sales of a house. So typically when the deeds of a property change hands, expensive legal departments are needed to make sure that the contract is followed. So using smart contract, there is no need to involve lawyer in the process. So you don't need to waste a lot of money on paying the lawyer. So of course this save a lot of people involved both times and money. After all, lawyers are not known as being cheap. So let's talk about Ethereum background. So the idea of Ethereum dates back on to 2013. So a young cryptocurrency expert and coder called Vitalik Buterin thought that Bitcoin needed more function than just a secure digital money system. So he argued that adding the programming language to Bitcoin would let application be built on it. So the Bitcoin community largely disagree. So this led Buterin to create his own blockchain, that is Ethereum. So in the early 2014, the Ethereum project was announced. So Buterin was joined by Mihai Alisi, Anthony Di Lorio, and Charles Hoskinson. So this early version of Ethereum teams began working on the idea throughout 2014 through a company called Ethereum Switzerland GmbH. So they also created the non-profit organization, the Ethereum Foundation. So the project was launched in 2015 July. So the foundation had pre-mined 11.9 million ETH to sell to potential investor. So this was one of the first example of ICO. So those who wanted to invest would send BTC to the foundation and receive a set of amount of a new Ether coined in return. So at this stage, each coin was worth less than $1. So if any of the original contributor held onto them until today, they'd be very happy with the investment too. So Ethereum is a software platform that is constantly changing. So the early version of software was buggy and unstable. So the first version that was considered stable appeared is in March 2016, also known as Home State. So Home State was followed by current version of Vitalik. So the final version will known as Serenity. So in Serenity there will be a change from the proof of work system that currently check transaction to one called proof of stake. So rather than using large amount of computing powers and electricity, in the proof of stake user who hold large amount of Ether check transaction instead. So if they break the network rules in any way by letting someone send same ETH twice, for example, the user that is staking their currency will lose their Ether. So this makes sure that the rules are followed. So Ethereum, the next is Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So during 2017, the excitement began to grow around Ethereum. So this is because Enterprise Ethereum Alliance was announced. So the EEA is made up of many different companies. So many of them are household names. So these companies were included in the alliance because they were interested in looking at how the Ethereum software platform could benefit their industries. So understandably, by having the likes of Toyota, Samsung, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Intel or any other saying that were interested in this project, increase the demand of the Ether token. Oh, it's been disconnected.
I just leave. The connection will.
They never show it. So I think the connection still. So during the 2017, it rose from the price of $8 per Ether, and in early January, the high of over $800 in the late December 2017. So it went to reach 1,400 per Ether in January 2018. So like in every year, the cost getting increased. So continue from another topic. So Litecoin versus Ethereum. So what is Litecoin? So Litecoin is a very different type of coin to Ethereum. So it has much more common Bitcoin than Ethereum does. So Litecoin is a digital currency in the trust sense, unlike with the Ethereum software platform. So there is no second layer for application development on Litecoin. So the sole purpose is to be used as a currency. So let's talk more about the history of Litecoin. So Litecoin was launched in October 2011 by former Google employee Charlie Lee. So the similarity with Bitcoin are because it is actually a fork of Bitcoin. So a fork is what happens when the miner of the proof of work blockchain disagree on an update. So when there is no agreement, the update become a fork. So the miner that update the software now mine the fork. So the miner that didn't update continue to mine the original. This means that the blockchain has now split. So this is how Litecoin was created. So Charlie Lee issued a Bitcoin update, but not enough of the miner downloaded the update. So the update or fork become the Litecoin. So Lee has been involved in an earlier altcoin called Fabric. So this was designed to be a fairer version of another early altcoin called Brick. So however, many of the community complained that the anonymous Brick founder had mined millions of coins for themselves before the software was released. So Lee Fabric was designed to only allow CPUs, the regular computer, to mine on the network. So the idea was that this would create even more decentralization than Bitcoin, because anyone who owns a computer has a CPU and can therefore become a cryptocurrency miner. So Fabric has some features that would make it into Lee's next project. So Litecoin, however, there were problems with the programming code. So there is issue destroyed the Fabric coin before it even launched. So that's the story about Litecoin. So continue that Lee was still convinced that he could make it fairer or more usable version of Bitcoin. So he took most of the work he done on a Fabric and copied the various part of Bitcoin code to patch over the mistake he made the programming for the Fabric code. So there's more things about Litecoin. If you want to search, just go at this website. So that's how Litecoin is being created. So comparing the coin, Ethereum and Litecoin. So Litecoin and Ethereum are very different blockchain project. So as I already stated, that Litecoin is a payment system that is very light, like Bitcoin, but faster and cheaper. So meanwhile, Ethereum is a decentralized computer system with its own programming language. This allows developers to create decentralized applications using smart contracts. So both Litecoin and Ethereum have faster transaction than Bitcoin. So on the Litecoin network, new blocks are formed every 2.5 minutes, and Ethereum has a much faster blockchain and new blocks are formed every 10 to 20 seconds. So the fact of Litecoin and Ethereum is that the total supply of coin, Ethereum is still uncleared, and Litecoin has 84 million of total supplies of coin. And the current available supplies on Ethereum is 98 millions 3,000 and 3,000. I don't know how to say this. How much? 98 millions 300,000 310,400. Is it? And the current available supplies for Litecoin is 55 millions 700,000 14. Okay, I don't know. 55714,900. And the average transaction cost for Ethereum is 21 cents, and that's the same thing as Litecoin too, so 21 cents for both. So proof of work algorithm is Ethereum is at hash and the Litecoin is scripts, and primary use Ethereum is creating the app, Litecoin is payment and test network for Bitcoin, and the founder of Ethereum is Vitalik Buterin, and Litecoin is Charlie Lee. So Ethereum and Litecoin prices. So you probably notice the difference between Ethereum and Litecoin prices. So this is because the total number of money invested in each is different. So not only that, the number of units each currency are also different. So the prices are worked out by taking the total money in the market and dividing it by the number of units that are currently available. So this will result in a different price per unit. So when you're looking at the coin market cap on any other price comparison website, you will see that the total money in the market is represented by the column at the market cap, and yeah, you can see the different type of money. So for Ethereum and Litecoin payment, so since it has a much faster block generation time, it seems that Ethereum is faster means of payments than Litecoin. So however, this isn't always the case. So since Ethereum is much more complicated system with many more transactions occurring per second, the network can be filled up with more easily. So take the example of CryptoKitty. So do you heard about CryptoKitty before? So CryptoKitties are popular Ethereum-based trading game that appeared late in 2017. So it was so popular that the transaction of digital cats fill up all the space on the chain. So as cute as they are, CryptoKitty weren't popular with people trying to make genuine payment or build the app on the network. So since the Litecoin blockchain store data about payment, users are much less likely to experience delay when making the transaction. So however, it will be slower than Ethereum if neither blockchain being used heavily that day. So that says that it makes sense that use Litecoin for payment since Ethereum is being used for develop potentially world-changing application, keeping the network free for developer to experiment on it. Therefore, it's a good idea to experiment it. So the conclusion of the Litecoin and Ethereum is that hopefully you should now know a little bit more about these two of the largest cryptocurrency by market cap. So you should understand the difference between Ethereum and Litecoin and know about the history on these two. like who created them both. So Ethereum is Buterin, right? And Litecoin is Charlie Lee. So you should also know the technological difference between the two cryptocurrency. And finally, you should be able to make a choice between Litecoin or Ethereum when it comes to making payment. So if you followed the whole life, you should have concluded that the two are not really compatible. I mean, like, it's not really competition between them both, and instead they offer a very different function as for Ethereum and Litecoin. Still, for that reason, it's better not to think of Litecoin versus Ethereum, since they can both live side by side. So with newfound knowledge, what do you think of future hold for Litecoin and Ethereum? Be sure to let me know. So you should comment. So continue from the Litecoin that I didn't mention to you guys just now. So this is a history of Litecoin that Lee was failed, if I'm not wrong, because it been rejected, and Lee was still convinced that he made a fairer and more usable version of Bitcoin. So he took most of the work and he done the fabric and copied various parts of the Bitcoin code to patch over the mistake that he made when programming the fabric code. So from the beginning, Litecoin was designed to be a fairer and faster and cheaper version of Bitcoin, and using a different proof of work system means that it was easier to mine Litecoin using CPU for a longer than Bitcoin. And however, it soon became obvious that more advanced system could also mine the currency. So today, like Bitcoin, Litecoin is mostly mined on specialized computer system called ASIC. So in the May of 2017, Litecoin implemented a software upgrade known as segregated witness. So the upgrade was created for Bitcoin by infighting in the BTC community, meant that it couldn't be agreed on as early as it was for Litecoin. So the idea behind segregated witness was split the data about transaction. So only the data that was necessary would be stored on the blockchain. So this is made possible to fit more transactions into one block and increase the number of transactions that the network could complete every second. So the idea was that even faster transaction would make Litecoin more suitable for smaller payment than Bitcoin that has become expensive to transact with. So the first ever Lightning Network transaction and atomic swap were also on Litecoin too. So Lightning Network is software upgrade that will allow small transaction to happen off the blockchain. So although less secure than a chain transaction, Lightning Network transaction will make blockchain suitable for small payments such as buying a cup of coffee. So meanwhile, atomic swaps are a new way to swap one cryptocurrency for another that doesn't rely on centralized exchange. So atomic swaps are thought to reduce the need to use exchanges that are often hacked and causing users to lose their cryptocurrency. And these two upgrades will bring even more functionality to both Litecoin and eventually Bitcoin too. So today, Lee sees Bitcoin and Litecoin as working together rather than against each other. So since the entire market cap of Litecoin is smaller than Bitcoin, so there is less risk when trying out new software upgrade to Litecoin. So in this way, Litecoin acts as something of a test network for bigger and more established brother. So I think that's all for today. Bye bye. Sorry.